Hey everybody, welcome to the Crawlspace Dime. I am Tim Pilleri here with my buddy Lance Reenstierna in the Crawlspace studios in Wormtown. Today we are talking about murder charges on the rapper YNW Melly.
And we got 10 minutes to do it, so we're going to come in, come out. We're going to try to keep it as concise as possible. This is a crazy story that was brought to us by our new assistant/intern. I don't like saying intern because he does so much more than that. Brian over here. So he brings this to us. Guys, this is a crazy crime story.
This is absolutely one of the craziest crime scenes I've ever seen. Like I was telling Tim and Lance, when a rapper blows up, gets big, a lot of time charges follow them, but I've not seen any charges, anything like this ever. So it's definitely a unique case that I think is super interesting to keep an eye on.
So Christopher Thomas Jr., 19, of Gifford, and Anthony Williams, 21, of Fort Pierce, Florida, were both killed in October of 2018. Were both murdered by gunfire, and those guys went by the names YNW Sakchaser and YNW Juvy. And so there was another guy here, YNW Bortland. His real name is Cortland Henry, who was also charged with Jamel Demons, who is YNW Melly. Sorry if that's confusing. A lot of YNWs.
What does YNW mean?
Four guys, two of them killed, the other two.
Yep, and so they're part of this rap group.
YNW, that's what they call themselves. It stands for Young N-Word World. Kind of like that was their idea. They were living in the world. And this was a group of friends who grew up in the same town in Florida, like knew each other before high school, had been going over each other's house. And one thing that proves how close they were is Melly has a tattoo, YNW Melly, obviously the one who's got arrested for it. He has a tattoo that says Jaina right here. And Jaina is the mother of, I don't remember if it was YNW Juvy or Sakchaser, but one of the victims.
It was Williams, I think.
Okay, so Miramar police said that an investigation concluded that Demons, that's Melly, shot and killed Williams and Thomas. And now Henry, who was the accomplice, was arrested in Texas and extradited back to Broward County. That was on February 12th, 2019. And then Demons, after a heartfelt, or I guess fake Instagram post, he turned himself in to officials in Broward County on February 13th of 2019.
Okay, so this raises a question of the artist, and we talked about this last time, the artist versus like the art that they make versus their lifestyle.
So he had a big song called Murder on My Mind.
Yeah, and he basically, I mean, that song, it really is, I mean, you could look at it and say that these are warning flags for something that might be coming. This is an indicator of something that's coming. But
it's not in all cases, because there's a long lineage of sort of gangster rap where no one's getting arrested.
And no one's actually committing the crime.
Right.
I mean, Eminem had his songs, multiple songs about murdering his wife. And
right. Brian, tell us about how Melly came up with this song.
Yeah, so he was just in jail, I guess, in his jail cell. And he said that, like, the melody was just stuck in his head and he kept humming it. And he just couldn't get the lyrics out of his head. That's what he said. And so he performed it for people in his jail in exchange for, like, Rice Krispie treats and stuff like that.
I will say it's kind of a catchy song, and I love Rice Krispie treats.
How is that different than someone like Ted Bundy saying that he gets this growling, like, voice in his head that tells him to kill people?
I don't know.
I mean, the only difference is that he didn't write a rap song and didn't put himself on SoundCloud. Maybe.
Yeah, he testified in his own defense instead.
Right.
So both of these guys, Henry and Demons, were charged with first-degree murder. And so Demons is accused of firing the shots from inside the vehicle where these guys were killed. So after they were killed, they drove around, apparently, for a little while before taking their two ex-friends to the hospital.
I'd like to get your opinion, guys, on whether or not this type of music, and I don't want to sound like the old guy here, but when you watch the video, Murder on My Mind, and basically any other one of his videos, is this something that is supposed to be, from the artist standpoint, a preventative measure of violence, or is it promoting violence? I mean, they're making money on it. He actually has killed people. So what's the purpose of this music?
It's hard to argue that it's preventing violence.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. And I think what you were talking about earlier with the separating the art from the artist, I used to think that was such a cliche.
Right.
But I feel like with the new free YNW hashtag, freemelly hashtag, it really is an honest question. Like, what does someone have to do to get their content not played? Like, what do they have to do? Because you could kill your two best friends and your song's going to go platinum. You know what I mean?
Not only
R.
that,
Kelly's songs bumped up after the special. What is the worst thing? Like, what could I do that could make people not watch this podcast?
Because there's always
intern for Crawlspace Media.
There you go.
Exactly.
There are always people who are going to be out there with that. You just said the hashtag free Melly. There's going to be the story tomorrow of someone else, and it'll be hashtag free that person. What do you have to do to not get your music played? And also, what do you have to do to be an overwhelming bad guy in the court of public perception?
It's very strange to me how all these people are supporting Melly and the Free Melly campaign. It seems pretty obvious from some of his work and from some statements that he made. There was a statement that you showed us that he said, "No, I'm not a murderer," right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty funny. It was actually that song "Murder on My Mind." He was doing a video for this web thing, Genius, which they kind of break down the lyrics to songs. So he was breaking down the lyrics to his song for him. Definitely a weird moment there. He says, "I murdered the pussy, I murdered the beat, but I'm not a human murderer."
And so as far as the actual crime scene, so they found a shell casing from a .40 caliber handgun that matched the bullets that were used to kill the fellas, and it was found in the back seat of the vehicle. Further evidence showed that Williams, who was sitting in the front right passenger seat, the bullets that killed him came from behind him and to the left, and was fired from less than 3 feet away.
So he's sitting in the back seat.
So Melly was sitting in the back seat and killed both of his friends in front of him.
Yeah, I don't like jumping to conclusions, but I feel like it seems kind of clear in this case that if you look at the forensic evidence, I feel like there's only really one conclusion you can make, and it's that he's guilty.
And so they said that their car was hit with gunfire from a drive-by shooting, but yet only 2 of these guys were actually hit and killed because the bullets came from the back seat, not from some other vehicle. And what they told investigators was the crime scene apparently was not, because there would have been gunshots heard and there were none. They pointed at an area, so that's where the gunshots happened, and they were lying about it.
Yeah, their story really made no sense when you think about it, and even the fact that, I mean, they think that the hospital wouldn't know that their friends had been dead for hours when they came with their friends to the hospital? I mean, like there's a lot of stuff about their plan that kind of just didn't really make sense. Wasn't well thought through.
Is this a publicity stunt? Have we come to that this double murder is a publicity stunt to enhance the perception of this person's lifestyle?
I think absolutely. I think you could say that and make that case that he was doing it to raise his profile.
His profile.
Sort of in the way that Jussie Smollett staged his own abuse.
He's pleaded not guilty.
Actually, speaking of that, these 2 guys have as well pled not guilty on March 5th of 2019. Hearing is scheduled for April 25th of 2019. And Demons here has a pretty bizarre criminal history. Vero Beach arrested Demons in late 2015 when police said he fired a gun at a group of people during a dispute near Vero Beach High School where he was a 16-year-old freshman. So it really sounds like this guy was a ticking time bomb, and he happened to write and perform music about murder. It seems like he was always going to go down the path of violence.
Now, was he from a violent community? Is he a product of the violence that surrounded him?
I can actually answer that a little bit. Not that I know all of YNW Melly's history, but where he's from in Florida, there's a lot of gangs. He has tons of gang references and stuff in his songs. But I think one thing that's interesting to consider with his music is people value realness in rap music, in saying what you're doing in real life. And in that way, maybe he was just talking about in his song something that he was really going through. I think that's something that maybe even as someone who thinks that he committed this heinous crime, I can understand how people could appreciate his music saying, well, this music, I mean, what he's talking about is absolutely coming from a real emotional place.
And his song Murder on My Mind hit #1 on iTunes when he went to jail. And he's got a song with Kanye West that has, in this article, at least 17 million views on YouTube. And my question now is, with Kanye West's relationship to Trump, will Melly get pardoned?
This is a good question, and with him being number 1 on iTunes, conversely, his music has been pulled from SoundCloud. And that is our buzzer, that is our bell, which will wrap up this episode of
The Crawlspace Dime. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next time.